Hey, everybody, welcome back. Central Texas Football Podcast coming to you live from our worldwide headquarters in Huron, Texas. Central Texas Football Podcast is brought to you by Jolie Godfrey from My Community Mortgage. She's a mortgage broker there. Jolie is probably the best in the state. If you got loan need, you call Jolie. Go to her Facebook page, Jolie, Jolie, Godfrey, Godfrey, and she will hook you up. And thank you to Ranch Masters Real Estate. Keith and Reed and his group over there do a great job. They'll sell you whatever, anywhere. They got ranches in Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, and the Reed boys with Reed Holiday Lighting. As far as most women are concerned, it's Christmas season. They're going to start decorating. They skip Halloween. They skip Thanksgiving. They want them holiday lights up. So give Reed Holiday Lighting a call. And we're back. This is our week 1 game preview. So we've got a couple of games and this is Ryan as always. We got a couple of games we're going to do some quick hits on. And then we're going to try to, not much you can really dig down deep in first week 0 or whatever it's called. But we'll look at
all the quick hits really. Some of them maybe extended quick hits.
Yeah. And as the year goes on, we're going to have more information. We can compare and different games and stuff. So that'll be fun. But for this is our 4th year doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we were kind of hit and miss. There it is, our Matt Stepp question of the week, but it's back. And our good buddy Matt Stepp at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, he every week we're going to ask him a question, and he's going to give us his educated, expert answer. And so what's question of the week for week 1?
All right, our question of the week from the one and only Matt Stepp. The 2 most successful Centex 2A football programs are coming into the season with new head coaches. What do you expect from Crawford and Mark? And Matt Stepp say, quote, I don't expect either to contend for a state title in 2025. Crawford is in a brutal region, and just getting the Thanksgiving weekend would be an achievement. I agree with that, especially with having a new coach, as we mentioned before. Mart, he thinks will be a Region 3 contender, but in his opinion, a slight underdog, not only in their own region, but also in their own district when it comes to Bremond.
Oh, absolutely agree with that. I think Bremond is, well, we've talked about it. Last 2 episodes, they're probably the best thing, them in La Vega, guarantees of playing in December at, Jerry World. So, yeah, and I think I have a feeling that Coach Robinson's going to do a good thing. Crawford, he's going to get him back on track, and that region is a little different than Region 2, that Axton and ran. So it'll be tough, but it'll be fun to watch, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, as always, to Matt Stepp for the question of the week. And let's go ahead and dive into these games, Kenny. We'll start Clifton at Riesel. Will be a big one here. We talked about Clifton and Riesel in our season preview as well. What do you see in this one?
Well, I just think this is going to be a good gauge of kind of where each team is at.
Yeah.
Clifton's going to have a new quarterback in Jackson and Ritz. The Ritz kid, Judd News, coming in from receiver going to running back. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then you look at Riesel, they lost the Gavin Oliver kid. They do have I think it's his brother or cousin Grayson back at running back. And, I think Riesel will be a little bit better on defense than they are on offense early on. So I think this is going to be kind of a grounded out sluggo. Clifton's going to run the ball. They'll throw a little bit, but I think this will be a kind of a slugfest. And I got Clifton taking this.
I got Clifton taking it as well. And the next one, we got Mejia at Palestine in the West. One interesting matchup here. And I got West on this one, Kenny. You get Kavion Bryan and company.
Yeah, Kavion Bryan is, the offense is going to score 50-some points every game.
Yes.
The defense, will give up points.
Yes.
And we know that Mejia's got some dudes that can they got speed. So kind of thought this would be a good one to talk about because this may be like a 38 to 63, some kind of high scoring game. But I think, they'll Westfield pull away late. Maybe they shut Mejia. Last year we saw a Mejia team score 50 on Whitney and then score 6 on West. It's kind of weird deal, but I think they've got the athletes to score some points, so this will be a fun one. But I got Westwood taking this one.
I think it'll be high scoring either way. I think if the offenses are on schedule for both teams, which may not be the case always to open the season, but I think we could very well see 100 combined points scored in this one. I mean, another interesting one, we had Maypearl at Fairfield. What do you see in this one, Kenny?
I really like Fairfield. I like Cole Collins. I think he can sling the ball around. I think this may be, I don't think they're going to beat. We talked about this last week during the last episode. I don't think they'll challenge Westwood for a district title, but I think they're going to be very good. And I think it's interesting to see what this Maypearl team is going to look like. They got a good running back in R.J. Washington coming back. I think Fairfield takes this one, but I think it's going to be a good test for each of them to kind of see where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I got Fairfield in that one as well. But again, Maypearl, like I said, I think they'll be a pretty solid team this year. I think they got a chance. Seems like everyone has Mejia taking that 4th spot over there in District 5 and 3 Division 1, but I think Maypearl could just as well take it.
Yeah, I think it'll be Calvert coin flip there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rogers at Groesbeck. That we talked about Groesbeck in the last episode as well. Groesbeck has probably in full rebuild mode right now. Rogers, what do you see in this one?
I think it's going to be interesting again. You got a 3A D2 in Rogers that's known for, having tough kids.
Yeah.
Running that slot T offense. Now everything's going to change because they got, I think, Coach Casey, that's his name. I got it over here somewhere. Coach Mays, he's coming in, and Groesbeck's got a new coach, and we need to brush up on our new coaches. I don't recall his name. So this will be interesting to see where these two programs are at. Yes. They're both, like you said, rebuilding. I mean, I know Rogers gets the Cisneros kid at quarterback. He's coming back. So it ought to be interesting. I think Groesbeck's got the talent. I think they've got the kids to be successful over there. And, they kind of missed out on the playoffs. Well, they did miss out on the playoffs last year. Year before, Whitney strubbed them pretty good in that first. And I know they had a lot of injuries in that first round game. Mm-hmm. So I like Rogers to win this one, I believe.
I have Rogers taking that one as well on the road at Groesbeck. So keep an eye on that one. And then Gillespie.
Hey, one thing, if you've ever been to Groesbeck, like if you're on the visitor side, if somebody's on the home side just talking in their normal voice, you can hear like the acoustics in that stadium because it's down a little bit. But man, you can, and it gets kind of rowdy. It's funny because you can hear the fans hollering back at each other.
It's funny because in class, again, just pull the curtain back. I'm currently a teacher at Whitney High School, and I had some of the football players in my class, and I remember some of them talking about how loud the band is at that stadium. Yeah. So you making that point kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just the acoustics. And at that stadium as well, Groesbeck has like the band has like their own section, and they're just playing like into that kind of bowl they have in there. So yeah, that makes sense with the acoustics. So moving on to our next game, it'll be Hillsboro at McGregor. I think this was another coin flip, Kenny. Again, Hillsboro has a lot to replace. I think McGregor's starting to build things back up. They were a contender probably 5 or 6 years ago. We mentioned they had a playoff game against Franklin not that long ago. I think they're kind of on the up and up. I think McGregor takes this one at home. I think Hillsboro just has too many questions, at least for me right now. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hillsboro won this one, but I think McGregor takes it at home.
Yeah, both kind of in rebuild mode, especially for McGregor. It's second year for that coaching staff. They've got a good quarterback in the Zacharias kid. I just don't know if they got enough size and speed for a 4A team like Hillsboro.
Right.
Hillsboro's got the sophomore, the Benson kid at running back. They got a new quarterback, but Hillsboro's always going to be big, and they're always going to have some decent speed.
Yes.
And I think they're just going to really probably. I think Coach Almy Tate said it on one of the news stations. That they're just going to rely on the Benson kid.
Yeah.
They're going to feed him the ball 20, 25 times a game. I'm sure they're going to throw it around and let some other kids run it, but I think I got Hillsboro on that one.
Okay. First one we disagree on. Not a problem there. Next game, this has been a game that's been really interesting the last few years. It's always one of the top games whenever it's the matchup. China Spring at Franklin. Again, always a top matchup in Central Texas whenever these two teams lock up. What do you see in this one?
Well, China Spring's kind of down. Yeah, they did not make the playoffs last year. Franklin graduated quite a bit. Well, Jaden Jackson, he's gone. They do have some kids that can take his place. I think with that type of offense, you're going to get a Bryson Washington and Jaden Jackson. They're just absolute stud running backs. But I think just because you don't have a 3-star, 4-star running back, you can put a pretty good running back there and still be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think Franklin's too much of China Springs right now.
Yeah, I mean, and like talking with Franklin's system, like Mark Fannin, head coach there, if he took over from Mike Hedrick 5 or 6 years ago now, he's done, and Coach Fannin has done fairly well at Franklin since that point. I think 3 or 4 state championship game appearances now, a couple state championships at least. But yeah, I'll take Franklin, especially being at home on this one against a not struggling is not the right word, but a kind of rebuilding.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to, the culture's there, same coaching staff, just
still there.
And we've talked about this, and I don't think it affects 4A as much as it does 3A and 2A, but talked about this with Coach Haynes in one of his shows, is just stacking those classes on top of each other. You having a great sophomore class, a junior class, senior class, and maybe they're in a lower, their junior and sophomore class or senior class last year just wasn't as strong as the other one, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so as well. They'll bounce back. There's no doubt about that. But I will take Franklin in this one as well over China Spring at home. Our next game, Lexington at Marlin. This might be the game of the week.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Can K7 stay clean? Because you got a kid like Bryson Maxwell still that's going to be after him all week. Marlin's going to be athletic. I think they're going to have a really good secondary. But on the other side, you got the OSU commit K7s that can just dial it up and thread needles back there. I think the one thing that I said about him when he was a sophomore is you don't know if he just threw a 70-yard touchdown pass or a pick six. Right. He just reacts the same
every time.
He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I think he's a professional coach. Coach Moll had talked about him when he was a freshman. Really excited about him. Now he's going into the senior year, and he's every bit of what we thought or hoped that he would be. I got Lexington in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take Lexington on the road over Marlin as well. And a game that you and I will be covering on the Whitney Wildcat Sports Network broadcasting, which will be every Whitney football game will be broadcasted through Huddle this year. Mart at Whitney. Now, this is a game that was pretty one-sided last year, but again, Mart, you're punching 3 classifications up going against the Wildcats here. Now playing at Whitney this year, they return to Mart will have to start in a new quarterback. They'll be returning Ahmad Scott, their leading rusher and rushing scorer from last year. He had just under 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. So they'll probably rely on him early, at least in the early going, trying to establish the run game. And then for Whitney, and more in depth about this one, I'm in the trenches with them, so I kind of get to see this team firsthand. Whitney, in their scrimmage against Robinson and Yo last week, looked really good on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of stuff to figure out offensively, breaking in a new quarterback in Fisher Watson. Have to replace like an all-state 3,000-yard passer for three-year starter in Mason Sierra. So there's going to be some lumps offensively, but defensively they looked really good. They kept, again, it's only scrimmage, but they kept Bryce McCurdy out of the end zone on 3 attempts. They looked really good. I think just with the size and depth advantage, in playing at home in the season opener, I don't think it'll be quite as much like a blowout, like a 35-point blowout. So I think Mart will reload very well this year. I think Whitney still takes this one at home, but mostly sheered to the sheer depth and size difference of Ohio.
Yeah, and that was kind of last year, that first game. That was kind of the Jay Sean Johnson coming out party. They call him Tay, rush for up 200 yards. I don't know, 30. Jay Sean's Jota. So, I pick Whitney because they're a bigger program, 3A. They've got more depth. Think they can match up skill kid for skill kid with them. Mark, I don't even know if they found their quarterback yet.
Right.
And it's a brand new system, so it may take Mark 3 or 4 games
just to figure out
who goes where. But as long as I think Coach Lane Catholic probably just say, hey, as long as we can get dialed in by district and get people where we want them. Yeah. That's all he's really, looking for. And you're playing Mart, and even when Mart's coming off the state championship, you're damned if you do, damned if you're done. If you beat them, well, you're supposed to beat a D2, 2A. If you don't, but what's wrong with you? So it's hard for them to get a schedule. These, in the past,
they have to punch it.
Yeah, nobody wants to schedule them. But I got Whitney, and it'll be interesting to see how Fisher Watson does. And I'll look for, I think they're going to probably be conservative with Tate, probably 15, 18 carries.
Right.
They've got 2 or 3 other dudes that can carry the ball really well. So I see, I was told that he's going to be on the pitch count for a while until district. So, yeah, give me Whitney.
All right. And our next game will be Glen Rose at Grandview. This is a classic Johnson and Somerville County matchup. This one is going to be, again, at Grandview this year. It's a 4A versus 3A. What do you see in this one, Kenny?
Well, Glen Rose graduated a lot. We just did a little bit of research on them, and they just kind of reload. They got a sophomore that's going to play quarterback in the Luke Mills kid, who was the district newcomer of the year, playing different as an athlete last year as a freshman. They returned some offensive linemen. They're going to have skilled kids. It's just Glen Rose that they're going to. Coach Watkins does a good job of installing that offense and moving the ball and scoring a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Grandview, the Landers kid, Peanut comes back. They've got Dominguez. They're just Coach Ebner's always going to have a good squad,
Right.
but I just don't think it's going to be enough for a Glen Rose, a 4A D2 really good Glen Rose squad. And Grandview's got a tough schedule because they're going to go. They got that. I believe they got Malakoff again this year. They go up to that new high school that they played last year and won by a score, Eagle Mountain.
Yes.
Up there in the Saginaw Eagle Mountain ISD. So they're going to take, it's a brutal non-district schedule.
Yes. It'll prepare them for what should be a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, I think so. And, the Landers kid's going to get better.
Yeah.
Dominguez is really good. They got probably the best, one of the best 3A defensive players in the state in Hubbard. For sure. They really good linebacker. Stats really didn't show that, didn't have 200 tackles, but just a really good linebacker. But yeah, I got Glen Rose in that one.
Yeah, I'm going to take Glen Rose on the road at Grandview as well. And our final game that we will preview here for week 1, we have the Robinson Rockets and the aforementioned Bryce McCurdy going on the road to further south down McLennan County on I-35 to take on the West Trojans at Trojan Stadium. West, we talked about them on the last episode as well. They're really young last year and really stout defensively as well. Mm-hmm. So having all those guys back, I think even though they're punching down at Robinson, punching down to Class 3 Division 1, I think defensively this is a good matchup for Bryce Carty to see, because this might be one of the most stout defenses he faces all year.
Last year, this game I think went into overtime.
Yeah.
And West lost to that one. I just think McCurdy's on a different level. Yeah. The running back Marino's back, and I love Coach Woodard, and I don't underestimate his teams. I just really think Robinson's going to be too much for West. And I just don't know that it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a 3-score game, probably like a, 35, or, they may score like 14-35 or 42-21, something like that.
Yeah, I have, and just with that being said, I do have Robinson taking this one as well. Bryce McCurdy, again, improving going into his junior season. He looked really good in the scrimmages as well. We mentioned that before with Whitney. And that same scrimmage, McCurdy looked really good against Whitney and Cameron Yo's defenses. He's slinging the ball around. He's crazy accurate. Heck of an athlete, man.
Well, that's our game. So let's talk about this. Look at all the talent that we have in Central Texas. And you look at Temple with the Carlton kid that's going to Baylor. University's got the London Smith kid that's going to Baylor, and then another DB that's going to Baylor. You got Case Evans, you got Bryce McCurdy, you got Kobe Haynes has got several offers. You got Jamarian Vincent at Connolly that's going to go to Baylor. I'm sure Braden Ford is going to start getting, he'll probably end up playing somewhere. A lot of good talent. Luke Black, there's a tight kid at Blanchett, the kid at the quarterback at Lorena. He's got the size to go play. There's another lineman. I don't know if he's a tight end, or I think he's a tight end, the Blackwell kid. Man, just a lot of good talent around Central Texas. Seems like every one of these games we're going to do, KJ Parr, Jabari Thornton's going to OSU at La Vega. All these games that we're going to cover, there's kids going all over the country to play, or all over the state in Oklahoma to play football.
Yeah, and that's the big reason we started this podcast to begin with, just not just like the talent, but coaching all across Central Texas. I mean, all-time great coaches like Don Pide and Kevin Hoffman and guys like that, the David Woodard over at West, like guys have been here and coached here for a long time and are just great coaches that have been able to nurture that talent and bring the best out of these kids. I mean, it's just what makes this region so fun to coach.
Absolutely. It's fun. There's a lot of talent, and it's cool because if you live in this area, you can drive 20, 15 minutes, no traffic, and go watch some really good football.
Absolutely. There's going to be great games all across Central Texas throughout the season. And again, we'll get more in depth of all these whenever we get the teams figured out and to get some records and some numbers and things like that. But just a quick little week 1 preview. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to CTFP. Before we go, Kenny, if you want to shout out our sponsors, sir.
Yes, Central Texas Football Podcast brought to you by Jolie Godfrey from My Community Mortgage. Jolie's the mortgage broker over there. She does a great job, best in the state. If you have any mortgage needs, VA loans, refinance, new home buyers, if you found your dream home down the road, call Jolie or look her up on Facebook, Jolie, Jolie Godfrey, Godfrey, Jolie Godfrey. And thank you to Ranch Masters Real Estate. Keith Reed and them do a great job, and Reed Holiday Lighting. The Reed boys are ready for Christmas. Just call them. They're not flying their airplane or out there on their wakeboard boat. They'll come put your holiday lights up.
All right. Well, thank you guys once again for tuning into the Central Texas Football Podcast. We hope everyone has a great first week of football. Go get out there and watch some football. And we're happy that the Texas high school football season is back. And we will see you guys again for our week 2 preview right here on the CTFP Central Texas Football Podcast on L4 Media.